And we are back on STS Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. I've got Jacob Meyers from Laird Superfoods with me. I am really keyed up for this one because the conversation is going to be amazing. We're going into customer service. Okay. Not a sexy topic for a lot of people, but we're going to make it sexy. It's going to be
Yeah.
awesome. You're going to learn a ton of stuff. We're going to have some fun with this. So, Jacob, as we always do on STS, no one knows Jacob better than Jacob. Give us a little backstory, bring us up to speed, then we'll get into our conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It's going to be an exciting chat for sure. My name's Jacob. I'm working at Laird Superfood right now. I've been with them for the last 5 years and super excited on the brand and where we're going. I come from hospitality management, hotels specifically, where I specialized in in-person experiences, the different smells and the feels that you walk into a hotel and experience. And during COVID, transitioned out into e-commerce and took a leap on a company that was founded in my hometown of Sisters, Oregon, and really excited to have been with them since 2020. And what a ride it's been.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was mentioning before we started, I was just talking to guys, well, when did they start? I go, I don't know, 5 years ago? Is it like
Yeah,
5 years ago?
2015.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
2015. Wow.
this is
Got
our 10
10.
year. Yeah,
Wow. That's awesome. And there, that alone, okay, is a testament to why, like, nothing happens overnight. You may all of a
correct.
sudden see them everywhere and they're in Target now and they're this and all this stuff, but dude, there's a lot of groundwork, man.
Yep.
A
Yeah.
lot of groundwork where you're just, and we'll get into it, but I love that you come from the hospitality industry. We've got one here in Beloit, Wisconsin, where I live. We're in a place called Iron Tech, Iron Works, and Diane Hendricks, a very big hitter. Okay, ABC Supply, all that stuff. Well, she has Geronimo Hospitality Group, and they're building resorts. And they do all this stuff, right? Really got her
Yeah.
hands on a lot of stuff, and they do it right. So they probably had
Yeah.
someone like you working for them because I know everyone she hires is amazing. Construction company, amazing people. So they know how to, they get it, right? So really, really, really great. So yeah, let's get into it then. Let's just talk about, we'll kind of go to the beginnings, from a customer service standpoint. Let's jump in. Let's go with Laird when you came on 5 years ago. Like give us kind of like, the high view of like what was going on and what you bring to the table and what was the direction they were looking to go in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's an incredible place to start because when I joined LSF, we were getting ready and gearing up to go public and be a public company. So when we looked at the business as a whole, we started in essentially a kitchen, Laird mixing different stuff and then sharing that with his friends, and then us trying to like look at that and say, okay, we have to share this with other people. This is an amazing product and amazing using amazing ingredients that are really not processed or bad for you. And so when we go from a kitchen to like scaling it as quick as we can, a lot of things get mixed up and lost in there. And one of the areas that the CEO at the time found was CS or customer service. We had consumers reaching out, asking different questions, wanting to be part of the brand, but no real like foundation to say, hey, what are the processes we follow if this happens? How are we connecting with our customers? And as you'll find, like for me, customer service is important, but it's the retention tactic that is in it that a lot of businesses will think about that as a profit center, not a cost center, like so many do for customer service. When I came in, I looked at it from that hospitality perspective. Like, what do we want these people to feel when they reach out? How do we want them to communicate with a brand? How do we want to go back and communicate with us customers? And a big philosophy that I find, especially with CS professionals sending emails and things like that, is it seems like it's always formal, you know? Even when we
Right.
think about AI and we talk about like when it first came out, it was very formal. And over the years, we've learned to have it empathize and create more connection and more relationship. So you feel like you're talking to something and someone. And that candidly, when I started at LSF, we were copying and pasting responses that we get out of a Word document that was like, hey, hello, here's your answer, goodbye. And I wasn't pumped on it. So that's where I started was like, okay, we want to build a relationship. We want this to be a community. We want this amazing like product to create and drive ambition and be a part of people's daily life. And we're just a fraction of that. But we're the people that everyone talks to with their, if they've got a concern or if they have a product recommendation or a question or what should I do if I do this or that. And so in turn, we really became brand experts, grew the department from 2 to 5, and then really like focused on all facets of the brand. Where are we looking at with VIP services? What are we doing with emails? How are we being involved with that? How are we shipping the product to consumers? So those all really came down the line over the last 5 years. And I feel confident that they've improved and created a better experience for our consumers.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've seen the changes, right? I'm going to call it participating in the product for a couple of years now. Okay. So,
Yeah.
and I love it. Matter of fact, just because I had to bring, it's backwards probably on the camera, but this is what I drink every day. Okay. The
Perform.
Perform, the
Yeah.
dark roast. Oh, it's unbelievable. And of
So
course,
good. Yeah.
I get a teaspoon of this in there
Mushroom.
too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the secret is take your hand through, put a little coffee in there with the performance mushroom and 10 seconds, up the rest of the cup. It's perfect all the way to the bottom.
Oh, it's,
Okay. You
yeah,
don't have to
it's a cool
restir. You
pro.
don't have to, it's
Yeah.
amazing. So yeah, it's a,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
it's,
think even on the reference for stirring the mushrooms, like when I came to the brand, I didn't really have any health food experience. I eat healthy, we try to eat whole foods, that sort of thing. But I didn't have like the same thought process of like going to the store and like mixing in a hydration product that contains, or like the mushrooms as an example, that contain real ingredients and then them like not settling at the bottom.
right.
And that's because there's like chemical emulsifiers in these products to keep them stabilized in the drinks. And that, like, learning that now and what we allow in our foods and like working
Oh,
for a brand that is not about that. Like, we are very adamant that we don't want to do that and lean into that world. That's what drives my passion to be able to go back to our consumers and say, hey, I believe this. I think that this is the right product for you to try. Get off the coffee mates of the world, uh,
yeah.
and try
It's,
something else.
I'm with you. I like, and again, that's why I'm drawn to it. I've been in fitness and health and all my other businesses, but when you see something, because it all can be done. It's just no one's willing to do it. They're looking for a cheaper, faster way to do everything. Okay, it's McDonald's. McDonald's don't have good food. They don't even have real food. They have fast and cheap. That's what they have. And nothing good that's fast and cheap is good. Okay, so that's the big thing, and that's why. And I give people this dark roast, Jacob. I'm like, just try. I do it in French press. That's my thing. I have a guest over. I said, here, just try this, and we're going to do it black. You don't get to put anything in it. Okay, and they sip it, and I'm telling you, the look after the first sip, they're just, this is amazing, And I was like, I'm telling you, then you tell
Yeah.
them what it is. Really? Like, all that's in there? Because I had this mushroom coffee once. It was real crap, and it was this and this. I never thought. I go, well, here. I give them like quarter of a bag. Like, yeah, I'm a little drug
Yeah.
dealer. Here, take this for
Yeah.
free, and you can buy the next stuff. But it is great when you see people get that, like, oh, stuff that's good for you tastes good too. That's really awesome. I know that's a big part of what you guys do. And I remember, I think I heard Laird saying this once about the product itself. Like, he's making this stuff, right? Now he's a performance guy, he's a big wave surfer, all this stuff. He's kind of like maybe we are. Like, if it's giving me benefit, I don't care what it tastes like. Okay, I'm going to just shoot it down, and
Yeah.
I'm going, oh, I want the benefit, not the taste. But that is not any way to build a business. Okay,
No.
because you'll
No.
have like
Yeah.
4 customers. Okay, so
Yeah.
so I think it was Gabby, his wife, who said, well, it's got to taste good. Like, no one's going to buy them to taste good, and then okay, that's next level challenge. You got
It
this
is.
thing that works, and now it has to taste good and maintain the stability, the purity of the product, and everything else. And you guys have really done that well. All the creamers. I use all the creamers for everything but coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love it. I just love it. But just that ability to adapt that way, to understand your customer, what's going to make them drink? We want them to drink it because it's great for you. But how do we encourage them and get that compliance, if you will, where they want to drink it? Like, real quick, you may already know this. I don't know what I do, but in the morning, so you go to bed at night. I've had a hard day, great workout, all this stuff early in the morning. I got my whole day. I'm like, and I may not feel like working out. I go work out at 5:30 in the morning. But I've decided, I made this little thing. I said, okay, no decisions at night. No decisions will be made until my second cup of this. is finished. Okay, so I get before I'm drinking the first cup of coffee by 4:15, 4:20, by 4:30 I'm finishing this. I'm like, we're going to the gym. Okay, so then I go every day, but I don't. It's 7 days a week. Okay, that's the
Yeah.
routine. No
Yeah.
decisions are made. The
That
cups are
until
finished.
2 cups. I
You know,
love
and
that.
that's just, and then the day is so much better. And then the really good days, I make a third cup.
Yeah.
But it's just that though, right? And I think it's really important. And the other thing, just on that, Jacob, and you know this because you guys had the pre-workout, you had the super
Yeah.
adaptation and drink mix, and it was the greatest thing I ever had. Okay, I've been working out a long time, and I just loved it, right? So every day I was just, I'm keyed up going to the gym, and I think workouts are great, and there's no buzz, there's no any weird crashes, or it just was an amazing product. And then it's like all of a sudden I can't get it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, emailing you like, dude, what's the deal? I can't put it in a subscription. That's not a good sign. If I can't put this in my subscription, this is not a good sign. So sure enough, they discontinued it because it did bother me because I want it for the performers. But I think, and I don't, you can verify this. I think the taste was probably a big
100%.
factor on why it didn't go. Right? Would you say
Yeah.
that was the main reason?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of products over the years that we've, like, developed, put into play, and some of them are really led by Laird. Like, one of a key products we used years ago was She Legit. Laird's a big fan of She Legit as well. It tastes horrendous. It's probably, like, top tier grossest ingredient for me,
Yeah.
but he loves it, and I'm the same type. It's that feedback funnel of, like, okay, the functionality of this product is amazing, but if I'm sick from it after consuming it in the morning, like, then I'm not feeling that great, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
it's
Right.
hard for me to create that ritual, to create that tendency. And that's where that feedback loop comes around. Like, it's really important for us, for our consumers, for everyone to talk about it. But that doesn't mean that we're all the same. Our
Right.
hydrate line is really important and part of that experience too. We've had eight at least 8 different flavors of hydrate over the years, including beet and turmeric and all kinds of fun stuff. Pineapple mango, of course, is the one that sticks around along with lemon, but we've had an
Lemon.
orange and all kinds of things. We've added salt to it, like the ones that are above me with the Hydration Plus, which are my favorites. But then we discontinued our normal hydrate, and everyone was like, "Wait, wait, wait. Bring that back because while I didn't like your beet one, I add watermelon powder to it, and I love it." And that's really the same type of thing. The super adaptogen blend was just, like, too complex for people to add additional things to it, but we are working on a few other exciting products that I think can get you to that adaptogen blend, maybe using a little less ingredients, than the full blend, though.
Keep me in the loop, brother. I
I will.
miss it. I had to make a video and send you a video on my,
Yeah.
it was humorous, but I had to send that because I was like, oh, this is a bummer. But
Yeah.
lemon on the hydrate is my favorite at this
Yeah.
time. I don't think I've tried them all. I did the original. I'm
Yep.
like, it's good. It's
Yeah.
hydrating. But
Yeah.
when I got the lemon and the packets and the individuals, I'm like, oh, this
Yeah.
is really drinkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
And
really
there's,
drinkable.
like, I used to add salt, because I would do it to, like, working out or doing something like that, and I would add salt to our normal hydrate in order to get a little extra hydration out of it, and that's what these ones are. They have more sodium, more, like, hydration properties than
Nice.
just, coconut water and Aquamin, which is an amazing ingredient as well.
Yeah, it really is. It's such a fascinating science. I got to tell you, when you go down this road and you start looking at ingredients, okay, because back in the day, it's where we started. I would tell my clients, I have my gyms and everything else. I'm like, just turn it over and look at the ingredients.
Yeah.
What can't you pronounce? If you can't pronounce something, I'm going to make it real easy. Put it back on the shelf. That's how I
Yeah.
want. You don't have to know what it is or what it's not. If you can't pronounce it, put it away. Okay. My wife makes bread every day. We make fresh bread in the house every day. There's like 4 ingredients.
Yeah.
Subway has 50 ingredients, and there's 50. Okay. Maybe you shouldn't be eating that bread. I'm just saying. Who
Yeah.
knows what you're eating?
Yeah,
Really,
I mean, I
really,
think it's
really cool.
incredible. A lot of people don't understand food or they're chasing conveniences, you've already said with McDonald's. Like, it's great to be able to have that convenient, and there's definitely a place for certain things in the world, but when we think about what we're putting in our bodies every day, like, how do we get into a place that we're we're aware and conscious and not in a spot that we don't know what's going on. Cheese is actually my favorite one to get people with. Like so many people buy shredded cheese, right? But if you've ever shredded your own cheese and you put it in a bag, you know it sticks together in this like ugly clump. Well, why don't we notice that at the grocery store? It's because there's a chemical that they get dusted with in order for them not to bind. That same chemical is in salts, peppers, spices, cinnamon, like all kinds of crazy stuff that we don't like think about. It's not on the label, which is also what's incredible about here in the US too.
Yeah, you get pink Himalayan sea salt. Oh, it's great. They did
Yeah.
the same thing. They
Yep.
put the same stuff in like you even wreck salt. You
Yeah.
can't even, you just can't give me like something, just, it's Himalayan sea salt. Just give it to me, man. I can crush it in my hand or something. I got a mortar and
Yeah.
pestle. I don't care what it takes. Like,
Yeah.
I want that and only that, so you're right. It's really, and it can be, you got to be careful not to become like neurotic. Okay. You start getting kind of wild about this stuff. You're like, oh my gosh, like I can't eat that. I can't eat it. Cause I've been down that road too. Like, kind of put the brakes on. Okay, in our house, one thing we do is just when you replace a condiment or another spice, you use it, you replace it with the right stuff. Then slowly over time, you have a whole new cabinet of stuff. You're using different products all the time. They
Well, and
work out
I
as
think
different.
like fear in general, like markets really well. A lot of people market fear, and it's scary thinking about like what we're consuming as well. And then you get into this like awkward game of this person said this and this person said this. And at the end of the day, like you'll find that Gabby and Laird are the same way. And we are an RCS team. Like we don't believe in diets because we don't know what's
Right.
going to be best for your body. We believe in trying to create as rounded of a diet as possible and be as active in your healthy lifestyle. But we get calls all the time that are like, I have really high anxiety. Like, what coffee would you recommend for me to consume? And as people like, yeah, but for us, like, we don't know if their body can even tolerate caffeine. Like, we don't know any of
Right.
their blood work or anything in that lane. But so many people expect us to come to the table with a miracle answer and say, like, oh, this is gonna cure all your ailments, And
I used to always tell
unfortunately, we
people,
can't.
yeah, I used to always tell people, I go, every diet works.
Yeah.
They all work. I said, but here's the question you ask. Only have to ask one question. What happens when I stop? That's the only question. Oh, take this pill. Okay, what happens when I stop? Okay, take blood pressure medication. I asked the lady, oh, it's a little high. I go, she 4 recommendations. I go, okay, well, which one cures it? She goes, none of them. I go, oh, so I rest of my life I have to do this. She goes, yeah. I go, I'm not in. I'm not doing it. It's just I'm going to juice a little bit. I'll change my. It's got to be the food. It's got to be what I eat. So that's I'm air quoting diet, right? It's change of habits because I've done it for so long, so many different things. I'm like, again, they work till you stop. So I stopped doing it so I didn't have to stop. I had to
Exactly.
find a way, like what things can I put in the diet? I already do the exercise really well. No, but it's the internals. When, like I tell people, listen, skinny people die every day.
So
It
true.
doesn't mean they're healthy. You
Yeah.
got to understand, like, there's other stuff going on. So we got to work from the inside out. That's kind of how you got to think about it, because the outside's easy, especially if you like working out like me. That's the easy part. It's what you're stuffing in your pie hole. That's
Yeah.
what you got
I
to
think it's
figure out.
incredible. I mean, and that really like, kind of ties us into my perspective on customer service. Like my when somebody calls in, it may be a totally different vibe that they're looking for, that they want. A lot of the time, like I joke with our team because we get too formal sometimes, and because we're delivering food, consumables to customers, we don't want to be informal because we don't want anything to be unsafe or be perceived as that either. But we're really like a flip flop and board shorts brand, like I don't show up to your shift in a suit and tie and expecting to talk to our customers. What are you going to say to them on the beach and like hang out and have a chat with them? And that really like is my mentality. But there's also people out there that like to have the suit and tie service. So as we pick up the phone or as we answer the email, are we evaluating like the person, the question, how they're asking it, how they're looking for it? And that's the same way with food and people's diet too. It's like Coffee may really work for some people. Some people it may like cause really like bad anxiety or stress, or like they can't function in the morning because they have jitters, and which we always recommend, of course, to a creamer that has a little bit more fat for that caffeine to like come on to then and slowly release over time versus just all at once and immediately. So there's all kinds of conversations we can have, but every time we're just saying, we're not a doctor. This is what works for me. And we recommend you talking to a healthcare professional, finding that like perfect balance for you, and then give things a try. Really, like it's the guardrails that a health professional can set up. And then you have to challenge yourself to like, okay, I have high blood pressure. Maybe I need to have less sodium, work through all these different things that you go through life with.
Yeah, I think a big takeaway of that, just that whole little section there, is understanding your customers. Okay. Now you have a range, and when you're dealing with food, very different than if you're in, like, a lot of my industry is home services. I'm coming to fix your toilet. Okay. We're not having, how many times a day do you use this thing question? Well, we
Yeah.
might, if it's a toilet, it could be. But but at the same time, you gotta really understand who you're talking to. And with you, you have a variety of people, and it has to be challenging, like you said. I don't know if you know you're interpreting emails, okay, which is like, I guess the AI now is possible, because it's like, when you get the text and you totally misinterpret it, and you think they're all mad at you, and
100%.
they actually are in love with
Yeah.
you or whatever.
Yep.
Matter of fact, funny thing, and I'll use you guys. I did a review for one of the products I tried, right, about the coffee, and I'm like, yeah, I used this formula, and now I'm ruined for all of their coffees. Like that, right? So that was my thing, right? It's funny, right? I'm like, hey, I love your product so much I can't drink any other coffee. But one of your customer service guys like reached out to me via email, goes, I'm really sorry you had this experience. I'm like, oh, you're not, no, no, dude, I love it, man. It's all like, he goes, oh, I totally read that wrong. I'm like, okay, see? So it's this kind of stuff that can happen. But I love that you reached out. That they
Oh
reached
yeah.
out, even misinterpretation or not. It's like, and this was just a review, like throwing out
All
whatever.
we're
You don't
doing
even
is trying to
actually,
like make sure we understand it right, and
right.
it's the same. It's asking questions. It's getting to know people. It's creating conversation, not just being an answer bot, and that's the reality of it is I don't think it changes much if you're creating, at least in my experience, if you're delivering keys to a customer for a guest room, if you're a contractor and you're working with an individual for a bid, or you are giving somebody a consumable to enjoy. All of those things are like creating a connection in a relationship. In society, we're like trading different services for each other in life, and that helps create that connection. But then what's the relationship, that sense of community that comes out of it? That's that reliance of like, hey, he fixed my toilet today and he was super nice about it. And he wore like, didn't track a bunch of mud through my
That's it.
house.
That's it.
All of these things, that's what service is. It's not just, answering a question that somebody asks.
Yeah, what we do is we teach, and I encourage my contractors with their custom home builds or whatever. I go, we just our own little, I didn't create the term, obviously, a world-class experience. That I don't care what you do, because I always tell people, Jacob, if I have kitchen remodelers and I have 5 different kitchens after pictures, they look beautiful, done by 5 different contractors. Okay, go talk to the homeowner. Love your kitchen, it's beautiful. Like, yeah, it's great. Well, tell me about it. How was the whole thing? You go, oh, I'd never do it again.
Yeah.
Never. Right. The whole thing was just dirty, and they wrecked this, and they're on time, and the music and the swearing and the whole thing, right? They never complain about the end product, virtually never, because everyone
Yeah.
can pretty much end up with the right thing. But it's the experience. And when you build an experience, and I'm going to tie this in with Laird, with you guys, so we were back and forth, and I forgot what I did or whatever, but you sent me like a sample box, right? Like, as a, here's a thank you. You sent me the sample. I'm like, dang, this thing comes in. I'm all excited, and I open it up, and there's the stuff, and I take it out, and I look at it, and I'm like, well, I'm going to send Jacob a picture. So I shot a picture of this thing, right? And here's what I love, and that's what I want. This is what I want people to get from this point, okay? The first thing you said was, oh man, I got to find out what they're doing with the shipping, because that thing, I had like a little crushed box in there. I had a bunch of boxes. The first thing you saw was this dented box. You're like, I got to fix that. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. That's a level of customer service. And like we're communicating and you're telling me this stuff, right? And I didn't get to tell you why I think it happened. Do you want to know why? I don't know if you ever figured it out. But I think I
Yeah, yeah.
figured out. I'm gonna give you this little free, this free advice here. So they crumple up some paper and you stick it in so everything's tight, right? Doesn't shift around. Well, in this one, and I don't think it's the norm. You got those brown sheets of paper. I know this is stupid, but I'm sharing it anyways. But they had like 15 of those, right? Like a stack, like a half inch, 3/4 inch, and they just laid it on top. Okay, and they closed the bucket, and so everything still moved around and did whatever. So I'm like, I didn't get a picture of it, and I wanted. I should have got a picture of that. I would have. This is how goofy I get. Okay, I'm like, I want to help them fix this. We can make this
Yeah,
better. I'm
yeah.
like totally into it, So,
But
but
that's what you
that's
get out of a
testament to the
conversation.
right. But that's a testament to the raving fan status. Like,
Yes.
dude, I'm going to help you make this even better because I like it so much. We'll make it even better. But
But that's
granted,
we're not anybody without our customers, and that's what's the most important part for us is like we want that feedback. We want people to share like, "Hey, I think you should bring back the adaptogen blend." Like all these things, those fuel decisions that we make later on down the road, and that's that second part of service, and that experience cycle is making sure that we're listening, making sure that our people have a voice to tell our leadership team like, hey, this is what our customers are saying. We want to like do this for them. We want to fix that experience in the
yeah,
unboxing. The
yeah.
dunnage like was an issue and we fixed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an email today that I received, okay, from you guys is the CEO bringing all those bags that were restocked, right? Because you had shortages, like everybody's dealt with for years, right? So, but it's that constant communication, okay, of what's going on, what you can expect, what we're working on. Then when it happens, we let you know. That's something a lot of people overlook. They really do because they don't understand, like, especially if it's like a big part of the business is subscription, right? I order the same stuff every month. I got this stuff. It comes every month, and I love it. I look for a box, and I got my coffee and my mushrooms for the month. Okay, so if that gets interrupted, that's a problem because I have to get through 2 cups in the morning, right? If I can't get through 2 cups in the morning, how can I make a decision? See, you've ruined
Exactly.
me. So, but it hasn't happened yet.
And
But
we don't want people to feel like they have to have a back stock either. Like, oh, it's got to be like,
right,
I got to have 3 months on the shelf because I don't know if they're going to ship.
yeah,
It's as much as we ask our consumers to create a daily ritual, we also need to be able to supply that. And that's been a big part and a big challenge, like with our growth. It's like we've had a really steep climb, and especially in the environments that we create, like really working with small like vendors we know to deliver an amazing product versus trying to do some Nestle of the world type thing.
right.
And that's
You don't
really
want that.
like no, no. That and those all have big impacts on the changes that we see in the world. And so, or like a bad harvest or whatever else happens. So it's really important for us to make sure that we have multiple people in multiple different areas, but responsibly scale our business for growth as well. And so we are really excited to be back in stock on everything.
Yeah, I'll
But
bet.
we are still, it does feel like people look at us as a big, huge brand, there's everything's like huge, and then it's a team of 26 of us, like, running around and trying to fix everything and trying to make sure that we're innovative and doing all this stuff, which is really exciting to see all of it.
I got to tell you, that's a big. To me, it's very encouraging because I work with small to mid-sized businesses because I have to have, and again, I'm talking from an advisor standpoint, I need to have agility in a business to make change. If they're too big, there's just nothing. I mean, it is just meeting after think about it, talk to so and so, and I'm like, this would all be fixed by now. Like I'd be on
Yeah.
to the next thing, but I can't. So I have a great appreciation for that to do something. Also, on the flip side, to be perceived as a really big brand, that's
Yeah.
another accomplishment with a handful of people. That's amazing. And I think so. Talk about that a little bit, Jacob. So we know, like, we've heard great customer service, right? You're really good. You focus on that. And now this, I know this is getting a little bit of marketing, but at the same time, like, And I was talking to a gentleman this morning, again, before this, talking about personality brands, right? You got a personality brand, you have your other marketing, you got a health brand, you have these combinations. When I look at this product, when I look at the products from Laird, I'm like, okay, well, it does have the guy, it's got Laird. Gabby's really cool. She does cooking, so she does all, she's obviously a very accomplished athlete, volleyball player, everything else. But you look at that, go, okay, there's the personality brand, but it's not driven 100% by that. You know what I mean? So talk about like how you got the balance, because that's the amazing thing, because people come and go,
Yeah.
right? The brand's going to have to live on, right? And I'm not,
Yeah.
I hope they don't come and I hope they don't go, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
from a business standpoint, this matters.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's important for us to show our founders, but we don't want everything about the brand to be our founders because it's not. It's not just them consuming the product. It's you. It's our hundreds of thousands of other customers. Like they're out there creating lifestyles, building that experience, and in turn, building their own brand that is with us. Their own relationship, their own everything. And that's what's really important. So as we've grown, we've had those conversations to say, like, are we leaning too much into Gabby and Laird? Like, or should we lean back a little bit and allow them some space? Laird and Gabby are great partners in that, saying like, hey, I need a week off. I'm gonna go surf, like,
Yeah.
and that allows us to be like, okay, maybe we don't shoot 7 videos of him this week. He needs time, he needs space, and that's really like the same type of thing. All of our friends that we have relationships with, if we lived with them, we saw them every single day, we're gonna be like a little bit tired of them. And
Yeah.
that same mentality kind of comes across in our marketing. I feel like they pop up when they should pop up, and they're there as part of the brand. They're a huge part of the brand. Every product that's developed, every ingredient we look at, all kinds of amazing things. But it doesn't mean you want to see them every single day, every minute of the day. And that's where I come in. That's where Jason, our CEO, comes in, our marketing managers like Salem, or our team members like you saw, I'm sure, a couple of weeks ago for Women's Day. We have amazing, amazing team members on this in this company, and all of them are really striving to be part of that community and relationship.
Yeah, it really matters, and you've done a good job at it. And you can tell, when Laird was on the Sean Ryan show and he did the in
Yeah.
depth, because no one does an interview like Sean. Oh my gosh, you got to go back to your like the day after you were born and go up from there, and tell them everything. But he has a way of doing that, and you really got insight, and you can tell that like can take it or leave it. I mean, that dude is one with the water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like he'd rather do that. That to me is like I love that because he's not owned by his product. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yeah.
my first 20 years in business, my business became my identity, right? That's a real problem. But I
Yeah, I
try
see
to
that
get
all the
people
time.
to get away from that as quick as they can. But yeah, the balance of it is what it's about. I also love that you guys are reaching out to customers for their reviews. I know that seems normal, but what I mean is you also highlight their reviews. If they're funny, you put those out, you share those with people on the emails, on the other things. So, and I'm saying this because the customer relationship, your customer service is customer relations, right? When you do that, again, and again, I don't care if you're cutting grass, plumbing, HVAC, whatever you're doing, cleaning carpets, if you can create that relationship with your customers to a degree where they're raving fans, when they tell other people about the product, because our number one thing that I teach, I always tell people, I go, well, there's 3 people involved in a referral, okay? There's me, the contractor, I'll take that. There's my customer, who I did work for. Then there's their friend, the person they're going to refer to me, right? Well, whose name's at risk?
Yeah, all
My
of us.
customer. My
Yeah,
customer. If they tell me to hire, if they tell their friend to hire me and I go do a bad job, okay, they're not going to like me very much, but they ain't never talking. Why'd you send me that clown? Like
No.
we have
no,
dinner
I mean,
together. Like we do this. We're friends, and you
Yeah.
did this to me. So we
it's
have to
a
understand
betrayal.
who's at risk.
Yeah.
It is. I'm telling
Yeah,
you, man. And everyone I've given the coffee samples to. Like I put it in the Ziploc. I'm like a little drug dealer. I'm like, here, man, this will get you through a couple cups. And I go, just try it. I just give it to them, and it just comes back with a great report because I'm 100% confident in what it is and what it does
Yeah.
and everything else.
and we have to be 100% I think as the referrer, from my perspective as a referrer too, is like not only are we confident in the product that we give initially, but we should be confident in the company that's behind that
Yep.
too. So
Yep.
as we recommend, do different refer campaigns, like if something goes wrong, we want to have that confidence that that brand is going to take care of that person that we've recommended them, or else guaranteed it's going to come back to us, right? And in the industry, we know like one negative comment is worth 10 positive ones.
Yep.
And so
100%.
how do you juggle that balance between like making sure that you take care of it? The crazy stat though is like if a customer has a negative experience with a brand and you're able to rescue them, they're far more likely to continue to be part of the brand, but also refer the brand and continue to like grow their relationship with the brand, try additional products, try different things. If they've had a super positive experience and everything's fine, they're still great customers, but consumers who have an issue, a shipping problem or something like that, and go back to your brand and say, "Hey, this is just some feedback. I just wanted to make sure that you're aware." And that brand comes back and says, "Hey, thank you so much. I hear you. I appreciate you letting me know that. Like, let me do something if I can to make this right." Those customers are going to stick around for life. And they're going to be there because you're hearing them, you're empathizing with them, and you're really taking care of their concern. And that's really important for me as a consumer to know with companies I work with.
Yeah, I agree. And here's a little, and you guys do it, but the real key to that is you hear them, you tell them, well, we'll look at it, whatever. But then when you fix it, you reach back out to them and you tell
The
them,
follow up.
your advice is really helpful. We fixed something we probably weren't totally aware of, and I can't thank you enough for bringing this to us. Like they're never leaving.
Yeah.
You put them on the staff.
Yeah.
You basically hired them. It's really a good thing. And too many people, and I'm going to be just honest about this, like too many, I'm going to call them owners, business. There's too much pride involved. And they're not willing to take this corrective suggestion, if you will, constructive criticism, as it used to be called, right? And turn it to a positive, like you
Yeah.
just did. Like you just told this. You have to change your mindset on that and take those problems as opportunities, right? And fix it, because not only are you going to make that person a raving fan, it can make a huge difference in your bottom line, because
sure.
now you're serving at a new level. That person you just saw will tell everybody to use your product. Like you said, I refer to product not just because it's great, but because of everything else. Because of, I know they'll get taken care of if they call and they do this and this and this, right? It matters. It really, really matters. And the younger me would have thought you're just nuts. Screw them. Okay, I'll make a good product. I wouldn't care, right? I'd just be like that. I'm just being honest. Praise God, I'm not the same person I was 40 years ago. But now I get to see it from all sides because I work with so many different businesses, and I really get to see this customer service experience on all different levels, good and bad and horrible, and maybe going to get there. Maybe they'll be out of business before they get there. I don't. But it's like, you're really looking at going, this has to be a cornerstone of your business. It really does.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I could give advice to somebody, it's like just begin with creating a relationship. And if your friend comes to you and says, "Hey, this bad thing happened to me," at some point you want to be like, "Well, tell me about it. Like, let me hear about it." And then you try to help. Like, come by your house, then I'll help you load up your fridge that broke, and like, no problem. We'll go have a beer after. Like, don't stress about it, dude. And that to me is like that's the same amount of customer service that we give our customers in that way is like, what's going on? Like, how? Let me hear you. Let me understand what's going on, and then we're like, dang, yeah, we messed up, dude. We should have really shipped that out last week, not this week. I don't know what's going on. Let me connect with them. Let me figure that out.
I have a friend at church, and I give him my little bag of coffee.
Yeah.
He keeps asking me, here's about it. I get those. He's like, okay, take this, take it home. Right. So he does. So I see him next week and he goes, I don't know, man. I go, what do you mean you don't know? Like, what do you know? What you do to it? He's like, well, I kind of made it. And I'm like, you didn't? No. Come over to my house. Do you got a French press? He goes, no, I don't have a. I go, let me make it for you. Come over to my house. I'm going to make you a cup because you can't, there's no way this stuff's bad. Okay, so I brought him over. He comes over. I tool up the French press. I get the look, right? The first sip, the eyes. I go, see, you screwed it up. It's operator error. It is not the product. So
Yeah. What a
so now
sense of
he's in.
community though, too. I mean,
Right?
and
It's
acts of
cool.
service from you. It's so cool to hear those type of experiences because we we really want that. Like, we want that community. There's people sharing that and sharing the cup, like the stories that you get to talk about then while you have your cup of coffee together. That's cool. I love that.
Well, the whole breaking of bread, man. You bring someone in your home and you share a meal, dude, that's high level stuff. I mean, it really is. I mean, whether you want to call it friendship or engagement or whatever, that is a, and I love to cook and entertain all that stuff, but you're right. That come over and have a cup of coffee with me isn't, it's not gas station coffee. You know, we're here. This is an experience. I make it an experience. Okay, it's an experience, and that makes it that much better, right? Now, I'm not necessarily dimming the lights and all that kind of stuff to have a cup of
No,
coffee,
no,
but
yeah.
you know what I mean. It's this thing. It's the environment, right? It's everything that
Yep.
we're doing, and I think it's really
That's what leads
powerful.
into healthy lifestyles though too, is not just necessarily the product that you're consuming, but the habits you create around what you're consuming. That's technology, it's not just food is what I'm getting at. It's creating that relationship and environment that you're in and cultivating it to be that. And that's why we really lean into that daily ritual, that like waking up in the morning, making that mindset to say, "Hey, I'm not going to make any decisions until after my first two cups." And that's my morning time. That's the time I'm looking at the sun or doing whatever outside, being involved just myself. And then let's make some decisions. Let's make some moves. Let's do some things. All of those are habits that we create and experiences in turn that we get to share with individuals. And it's always amazing to hear those, especially when we get to be a part of that.
Right, right. There's a great saying. I think Jim Rohn said it. He said, "We're defined by our rituals." You know, really good quotes like and that kind of stuff. When your product is part of a ritual, I mean that in all the good senses, right? That's an important thing. That is now it's become again it's part of my everyday. Not a lot of people are part of my everyday or things. Okay, it's a very select group to be in that ritual time in the morning, right? So it matters.
Do you bring the coffee with you when you travel?
Yes, absolutely, dude.
Yes.
The French press in the bags. I got. I'm going and getting hot water from the hotel. You know, like bringing my
Yeah.
stuff back and setting this up. If I have to do it in the coffee maker, I'll get the
Yeah.
filter and I'll put my stuff in and run the. I mean, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
that guy. Yeah, I.
Yeah, no, I am too. Because that's like part of that same ritual. It's that like confidence in that I know that this is like part of my daily vibe. And if I find that especially when I travel, because I travel with product as well, that if I don't continue like one part of the daily ritual that I have at home, then at least one part, then like my day's kind of thrown off. I'm like, is it a good day? Is it a bad day? I don't know. Like something's wrong and that's
I'll tell
missing.
you what it is. It's you're starting your day with disappointment.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. Okay. I mean, who wants
Especially if
that?
you're drinking hotel coffee.
Okay. Like I'll tolerate a C or a B level workout. Okay,
Yeah.
that's okay because I still did a workout, but not bringing the main part of my morning like that. That's no, that's disappointment,
Yeah.
and that's self inflicted. That makes it even worse. So I'm like, yeah, I do. I travel. I travel with the goods. You know, my wife she likes it, but she kind of like she's got her thing, and she does an espresso and all that. But it's just I'm super consistent. But she's a huge coffee fan, like
Yeah.
a coffee snob, connoisseur.
Yeah.
Like
She's a
even her
cupper.
best coffee, there's days it doesn't taste right, and she won't drink it. You know, she has that kind of discipline. So
That's the
so
problem
I
with
can
people who get
have
into
as
like espresso and that sort of thing. Like, it's got to be like the perfect situation every time. And we
right.
know no business, no person, no entity is going to be perfect 100% of the time. And
It
so
goes
then,
back. It goes back to this. The gap between expectation and reality is disappointment.
yes.
So those little espressos, you're going to be disappointed. This, I got the same measurement. I got the same hot water. It's in the same French press. That's why I travel with the French press.
Yeah.
I take it for my own little world of perfection. You know, I got the same teaspoon to measure my performance mushrooms every day. The quantities they're
I love it.
exacting. Okay, so I just that's how I do it. You know, and it's incredible. That's all I can tell you. I just love it. You know. So much fun. But I think when we look at product, customer service, brand, okay, so you combining brand, customer service, and product, which I know this is going to be like, yeah, no kidding, dude. But it really is, there's a blend of those three things that when done right, when balanced in the right way, and doesn't mean equal portions, Balance means there's the right amount of each, right? It's not a third, third, and a third. But I think when you get that, you can move a brand in a way that a lot of companies or single products or things like that really struggle in because they haven't connected those three dots. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, I think like this, actually, I just did this exercise with some of our team yesterday where it's like, let's sit down in a room and let's get on a whiteboard and let's think, what is a customer experience before they get to the brand, when they get to the brand, and then after they leave the brand, like after they purchased a product or whatever it is. And let's go through this. And it wasn't even like, oh, we want to map out a full customer journey for something. It's like
Right.
just understanding a little bit more like how you could be perceived prior to a customer getting there and being a part of it, or how you get perceived when you get the item. And so think about that process every time you create it. Like when you write your bids for the job, during that time that you're writing it, you got 5 days in between. Do you send a little update like, hey, appreciate the patience. We're working through this bid. We're going through that, whatever. Or is it like nothing, Or do you tell your customer like, hey, I'll get that bid back to you in 7 days, and you get it back in 6 and you're like, hey, just wanted to make sure you had this in your inbox. And then that follow up and that work through. So really like mapping out that customer journey is going to be important for any brand. And so I guess yes is probably the answer. I agree.
So, yeah. So that post purchase, first purchase, since you
Yeah.
talked about it, like, what's your expectation on Laird in
Yeah.
particular? Like, so I bought my first coffee. Hey, I got a 10% discount and whatever, and I got my thing, and it's arrived. It's 4:15 in the morning, and here comes the first cup. Like, what is the expectation from that point on in your guys' mind from a customer
Yeah.
service standpoint?
Yeah, there's a lot that you could go into and digest from that, right? Because it's like, at what point does that customer come in to the top of funnel from? And are they like coming in as just like they saw one Gabby Laird post and the guy loved Gabby from high school and he's like wants to try a product, which we've seen before. It
Right,
sounds
right.
weird, but we've seen before, and so they're like, that's their only relationship with the brand. They're not looking for a healthier lifestyle. They don't care about like specific ingredients or anything of that nature. They're just looking to try the product. So if we were just to look at that, and then we get them in the funnel and they make the purchase during that experience as they've created their first purchase, we're sending them a couple of emails to say, hey, this is who we actually are. I know you maybe not like met us before, but this is what we're about. And informing them, keeping them in the loop about why we're here, why they just spent $20 on a bag of coffee, that type of thing. When they get that product and they try it, we really want to look at a flow that is like, create a 7-day ritual, build that relationship, work through that momentum of not just like the daily greens are a great example of that. Like if you can, or the mushrooms, if you consume that product daily for like 7 days or 21 days, as we know, makes a habit. At the end of that, you feel so much better. And if you don't have it, you're like, wait a second, something's off. And you fall back out of your habit, you get back into it, it's the same. So really, to answer your question, it's creating a relationship with the customer to say, hey, this is what our product's about. This is who we are. And if you need any help along the way, we're here for you.
Yeah, and I've experienced that. I love that. And I'm a coach. That's coaching. That's what that is. So you're coaching, you're bringing about, you're teaching, you're educating, you're engaging, you're educating, right? Then you can throw in an offer. We have a thing called the conversion equation. It's interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. You go through those four things when from the very beginning, which is kind of what you guys do in a sense, and you kind of bring them through that. And that encourages them either to repeat what they already got, or you guys have a significant enough line where there's something else. Hey, have you seen our
Yes.
protein bars? Have you seen this? You got these creamers. We got this really great stuff, the hydration products. So it's interesting. What I like to see is when, again, you understand there's different customers at different points of the journey that are all at some time going to be a first time customer.
Yes.
So the journey may be different, but you can primarily systemize this first purchase journey after the post, right? Like, this is what we do. You're going to get this email and this and this and this. And the guy who's like into like the health stuff, it's just that much cooler, and I'll get more. And yeah, the stuff tasted great. It's definitely confirmed a high value, product. Everything else, I'll get more.
Easier to convert is what it
Exactly.
is.
Exactly. But even though the first timer, who again, like you said, is maybe not doing it for health, but
Yeah.
everyone has some level of health awareness, even if it's bad health. Okay,
Yeah.
they have an awareness. It's like, I'd rather get someone started on good coffee that's actually good for them, because I'll tell you, Jacob, for me, when I got into this, I started thinking, I'm getting a little older, and like I'm staying fit, I'm working out, I really like that. But you know what I didn't seem to have control on? My mind. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to lose that. Like, how can I nourish my brain? How can I not have Alzheimer's or not have dementia or whatever? Like, I don't want that. I just become a burden. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want that, or to my family. So I started looking into the mushroom stuff and doing this. I'm like, I can add that. That's really fascinating. So I did some research. Then I'm hearing about stuff like, I'm going to get this, and I will tell you. Now, I'm no doctor,
Yeah.
but a couple of years on this stuff, and I know people can feel different thing in days, but like, it works. From a cognitive standpoint, man, this stuff is good. I'm sharper. My wife doesn't call me quite old man so much anymore. She's a bit younger than I am, but I'm like, I'm there. Not that I was going off the rails, but I didn't want that to happen. Man, if I could get that in this coffee, and have that every day, and it's not a chore, it's part of my ritual. Like, that's the amazing thing, right? That's part of a great experience. And part
Yeah.
of
I mean, that's
longevity,
like
it's
what's
amazing.
Incredible is if you create those things, though, then a lot of the rest comes along. If you create the habit to go to the gym, and do that, then a lot of other things in your life kind of come through that. Or just working out, going for a walk, getting outside. A lot of people like have trouble just getting outside. And that's really like the challenge, I think, as well. Just create something that makes you feel a little bit better today, and then it will be even better tomorrow, and even better a year from now, and even better 5 years from now. Do things that invest in your future, not just in the moment.
Yeah, and I think with stuff like this too, and food in general, well, quality food, like anything, consistency is where the victory comes from. So if
Yes.
you do it 3 days a week, or you do it 5 days a week, or 7 days a week, like I tell people about my sleep, I wake up at 4 a.m. 7 days a week. I don't sleep in on Sunday. If I do, it's like 4:15. I go like
Yeah.
15 extra minutes, but I don't use an alarm. I don't need to, because I'm rested, I'm consistent. My body knows when to wake up, and some people think that's nuts, but like, it's routine, it's ritual,
Yeah. Well,
right?
some
Some people are like morning people for sure.
Hello, that's me.
Get up with the sun, get up before the sun. I'm kind of the like get up while the sun is coming up person. It comes through the window shades, and I'm like,
Yes,
yeah, I
it
can,
lifts you. It lifts you out of bed. The sun lifts you out of
Yeah.
bed
Yeah.
as
Exactly.
it comes over the
Exactly.
horizon.
yeah. I find that I love the evenings, and that's just what's unique about me. So instead of working out like first thing in the morning, I work out in the evening, and that's that same type of ritual, that like working through understanding where your body is at. That's going to be like, don't try to conform every single thing to be a challenge. Work through things that can allow yourself that comfort, but also challenge yourself to be more active and in it.
It's it. It's got to fit.
Yeah. It's got to
People are
fit.
forcing square pegs in round holes. Well, 'cause I'm
Yes.
supposed to. No, you're not supposed to. Like you
Yeah.
said, like, I'm not working out at night because I'm too tired.
Yeah.
I go to
Yeah.
bed at
Exactly.
9. Okay, I'm like, I'm working out at 5:30 in the morning when I'm fresh, because
Yes.
I want to kill myself in the gym.
Yeah.
So I want all the energy I can possibly have, and I do it, and I love it. So, if I have to go later, I will. But yeah, so much good stuff, Jacob. This has been just awesome. We've hit some really good stuff on not just customer service, but brand experience, follow up. I mean, there's so many good things from this. I think it's worth listening to twice. That's what I'm going to say. I'm just putting that out there,
I
because
hope.
there's a lot of good stuff in here that, regardless of your type of business, I'm telling you, customer service is cornerstone. It's cornerstone to a successful business, because without it, you know what they say, just like we talked about complaints, you get one complaint, there's 16 other complaints that weren't voiced. So you got to understand, one is not one. One is many. Okay, and that's why if you handle that problem immediately, that's one of the things I always tell people. What's the best time to handle a problem? Immediately. That's the best time. And you get on that, and then you publicly tell them, those people who didn't voice, say, oh, they fixed that. How cool is that, right? So they're like being heard because one person spoke up. So I'm just trying to get other people, don't discount it.
No, you
Don't
got to own it.
discount the need for this.
And
Yeah, you really
that's the
do.
thing is like you really have to go into every complaint you have and you have to own those complaints. Say like I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to go through the process. I'm going to work through my steps and the gates and keep them updated along the way. And then when you get to the end of it, as you've said already, you got to follow up. Not only that, you have to thank them for bringing it to your attention. It's uncomfortable sometimes to complain, but that only allows us to get better as a business owner or operator. Is like it's feedback. It's feedback.
You have to
Don't take it too
operate
personally. You know.
operate at a level of humility.
Yeah.
And that I did not have that early on. I didn't have any of that at all. Right? So it was all a personal offense. If you think I did something wrong, because it's impossible I did something wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was my attitude. But now I come from a way different place. I help other businesses too. You have to have that level of humility because humility wins.
Yeah.
It wins way more than your pride ever will. And you'll get feedback you never could have got if you didn't have that level of humility. Because
Yeah, I
people,
think like I think one of the like most impactful stories for me was when our designers go to school and they do all this fancy stuff and they're way more artistic than I am. And they go through that. And during the course, they make them draw like a figure, right? And then at the end of the course, they hold it up, they do their thing. They're like, hey, here. And the teacher just says, like, before looking at them, just says, erase it. Doesn't give any critical feedback, doesn't do anything, just erase it and then draw the same thing again and come to class tomorrow and we'll look at how it's improved. And they do that for like the full week. And that allows you to not take the amount of work that you put in that one design too critically. Like it's just a cow that you draw for a brand, right? Like it's just this. And if the brand comes back and says, well, I want the horns on the cow to be bigger so it looks like a bull. And you're like, oh, okay, I thought you said a cow, right? So
right.
it's that critical. It's just taking the feedback and being like, okay, I hear you. Thanks. We'll do that. And then moving on from it and bettering yourself because of that feedback. Because no feedback is truly like something that you always have to do. Make the decision, weigh the feedback options, look at the metrics and decide from there.
Yeah,
Don't
great
decide on just
advice.
one person telling you you're doing a bad job, which I
Yeah,
see a
that's for
lot.
sure. Yeah, that'd be like your
Like, what
mother
about the
or
10 other
something.
people that told you did great?
Right, exactly.
The
Yeah,
tile was awesome. It lined up great.
yeah. Well, like you said earlier, one negative wipes out 10 positives, and that's the truth. It really does. So,
Truly.
and having that approach you just spoke of is really critical because it takes a lot of anxiety off you as an owner because you're like, feedback's good. Data, it's good. Data's good.
Great.
Metrics, they're good. I can look at this stuff. I can see, I have black and white proof that this is working, not what I feel. Okay,
Yeah.
we've removed the emotion from it. Now let's look at numbers. Let's look at data. Let's look at responses and stuff, and it's really good. So, love it. What a great way to wrap this up. Any final thoughts for the
I
audience?
think so.
I got to get you a discount code. Maybe we'll do Sharp Spear or something. So it's got to be shorter than Sharp and the Spear. But I got to get you a
Yeah, I know.
discount code out, and then you can share with your followers, and that
STS.
way they can get some stuff.
STS.
STS?
Code. STS.
Let's
Sharp
do
and
it.
the Spear.
I'll make
STS.
one.
Love it.
We'll get that
Cool.
out over to you, and that way some folks can try the coffee. My favorite's, of course, the adaptogen creamer. It's a good one. But that way, when you give them your little drug baggie, you can put like a little slip in there that's got like the promotion code and be like, hey, if you need to buy your own so you stop using mine.
See? This is amazing. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Now my podcast has hit the moon. Now I'm at the moon now. Me and my 12 listeners are going to kill it. We're going to drink some coffee. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be
But
great.
I want to make sure that your listeners get a little bit of benefit too, especially for hanging out with us and listening to me ramble for the last hour. So I really appreciate you having me, and let me know if anything else comes up.
Yeah, I love having it. We didn't even touch on a lot of the stuff we were going to hit, so that's just the joy of, well, sharpen the spear. We can go. We go deep. We are not one-trick ponies. We can do it all. But thank you so much, Jacob, for the time today. I've been really excited about this interview. I can't wait to get it out there. And everybody listening, just Laird Superfoods. We'll have it in the show notes. Everything else, discount code, whatever we get, it's going to be there. Everything's great to have a discount, but if you don't have it for some reason, get it anyways, because it's not going
Yeah.
to matter. It
Always
doesn't
subscribe.
change the
Just
taste.
subscribe, you'll
Yes.
get 20% off.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And they do have great email sequences, and you can choose your levels of emails, like how much you want to get. Can you guess I'm the all things Laird email sequence? That's me. Because remember, you can
I
always
love it.
not read them. It doesn't matter if you get
Yeah.
them. You just always not read them. So, so that's just where we're at. But this has been fantastic. And everyone, again, look forward to talking to you and seeing you on the next STS podcast.